Morning, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School. What I thought I'd do this morning is I've got a few small component parts here, and I thought we'd put together a gamekeeper that you can use for your small game hunting kit. Gamekeepers were things that were typically incorporated in the old days into a shooting bag for upland birds and things like that, but they work really well for things like squirrel, rabbit, and again, upland birds. So if you're a small game hunter, a gamekeeper is a nice thing to have with you, attached to your backpack or attached to your belt, so that you can store that game that you've harvested off the landscape until you get to the point of processing that game. Very simple process to make one. Very handy item to have. Let's talk about it today. Stay with me, guys. All right, a few simple things that we need. I have a carabiner here with just a black small key ring. This is not a necessity, just makes it more convenient. This is a box of sink washers. So I'll give you a good close-up of it right there. There are 100 of them or something in this tub, or 200. I bought them off of Amazon. You can also buy them in smaller quantities, but I planned on making quite a few of these with some of my classes and things like that. And they look like this, and I need 4 of them for this project. So there's a rubber washer, basically, that's a little bit flexible, easy to clean. Blood doesn't hurt them any. They don't rust, so they're not going to go bad over time. I use paracord for the main body of my gamekeeper, and then I use number 12 or number 6 bank line. This is number 12 bank line. You can get this off of our website to do the wrappings on this gamekeeper. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this a gamekeeper for 4 animals, whether that be squirrels, birds, rabbits, again, whatever the case may be. It will hold 4 animals you've harvested off the landscape until you get back to camp. Okay, we're gonna need 2 pieces of paracord, whatever color you want. What I generally do is I measure from my fingertips to my armpit, and I cut 2 pieces of cordage that length, and that's going to give me my 4 animal gamekeeper. So I'll cut one of those off, and I'll cut 2 of those the same length by using the second one to measure off of. And that's where we're gonna start this project. The next thing I would do is I would go ahead and seize the paracord on all 4 ends. So take a lighter, I always have one in my pocket, and just melt that down so that the ends don't fray on you. Now, I went ahead and cut 3 pieces this time for this project because the daily limit here is 6 squirrels. So I'm gonna make this hold 6 squirrels. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take all of these pieces and we're going to line them up together just like this, 3 and 3, and we're going to fold them in half, basically, and find that halfway point. That halfway point is where we're going to begin a lashing to lash these together. Now you can go ahead and put your ring on here if you want to, if you've got some type of ring, or you could put one on there after the fact. It really wouldn't matter. You could feed it on there after the fact. However, it's pretty easy to do that to begin with, so you don't have to try to feed it on there later. And then just, again, get all your ends kind of lined up so that they're close to being even, as close as you can get them. And then start here with your whipping, all right? So we're gonna fold that in half and lay it down. We're gonna grab a piece of this bank line that is, I don't know, 2 or 3 feet long, and we're gonna cut a piece of it off here with our knife. All right, so now that we have that, we're going to take our wrapping or whipping line and we're going to take a bite of that line and give ourselves a little bit of tail here. And then we're gonna lay it right on top of this loop, just like this. And we're gonna go down an inch or 2. And we're gonna begin to start wrapping this upward toward the eye, just like this, crossing over that line that's our tail. And we're gonna pull that as tight as we can. And we're gonna continue to wrap that as tight as we can, keeping our loops even. Now, once we have our whipping on here, and it's as high as we want it to go, we're gonna take that whipping line and we're gonna run it through that loop, not through the key ring, just through the loop eye that we created to begin with. And then we're gonna take that tail and we're gonna pull that down inside, just like this. And we're gonna yank on it until we pull it down inside the wrappings a ways. Pull this up to neaten everything up, make sure our whipping is nice and tight. Give everything a tug to make sure our whipping's nice and tight. And now we can trim both of these off with our knife, and we have the beginnings of our gamekeeper. So we'll just take our knife now. We'll come in here and we'll trim this off, just like that. We'll trim this one off, just like that. And we can always take our lighter, because this is a nylon line, and we can always melt that back, just like this. And push it right down on the whipping, just like that, and do the same thing here. So that nothing can come undone. Now we have what we need to start off with here to give us our what I would call a 6-gang gamekeeper. Now the rest of this is pretty easy. We're gonna keep this piece of line that we had left over right here to pull these lines through these washers. So we'll take this line and we'll fold it in half, give ourselves something to grab onto, and we'll push this washer, we'll push that line through the washer to give us a loop, just like this. And we'll then take the tag end of this and we'll pull it up and we'll just force it through just like that, okay? Once we've got that, we've got 2 lines through the loop. Now we can adjust things to where we want them. We need enough tag end here to tie an overhand knot, a good solid overhand knot, and then we can snug that up against. And now what we have here is we have a sliding knot on that rubber keeper that when you put the squirrel's head inside this gamekeeper here, it will collapse down around his neck and you'll have it hanging off of your bag or your belt. And we'll do the same thing on the rest of these as well. So again, all we're doing is we're taking one of these rubber washers and we're shoving a loop of line through that, just like this. Then we're putting this line through the loop in order to be able to force that double thickness of paracord through that rubber washer, just like that. Once we get to that point, it's as easy as tying our overhand knot here, nice and tight, just like this, and then running that knot down to the loop to give us that slipping knot to go around our animal. So when we're finished, we have what I would call a 6-gang gamekeeper. We can put 6 animals on this keeper. We have a key ring here we can just put through some type of a carabiner to attach it to our pack, our belt, or whatever we decide. And again, all you're going to do is make the noose large enough to go around the animal's neck, and then you're going to slide the noose down until it's tight around the neck, and the game will hang off of this gamekeeper. All right, guys, so that was a pretty simple project. Doesn't cost a lot of money to recreate this thing. And like I said, you can get these washers in packs of 3 or 4 if you go to someplace like a Lowe's or a Menards, or you can buy them in bulk off Amazon. Most people have a spare carabiner and key ring hanging around. It gives you an easy, convenient way to carry game, and it's a very simple project that you can do yourself and not have to buy something like this. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. And I'll be back to another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.